This is Machuka Nyarieko TV Talk Show, where we analyze politics and governance issues. We focus on national, local, and international news. We examine the political way of our people, social and economic. Nyarieko TV Talk Show, the house of ideas.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have a few hours, probably less than 30 hours to move to the next year. God willing, people have been coming up with what they think they will do come next year. But most importantly, mine is to focus on what do Kenyans expect the President of the Republic of Kenya to do next year to make it more better. This year was full of problems, was full of issues, mostly negative issues. There was a runaway corruption. There was several issues to do with the education funding and education in general. There was also several issues on health, and unemployment went to the highest level. Issues of security and abductions went high, were introduced, and they went high, as well as the cost of living was extremely high. So come next year, what do the Kenyan citizens want from William Samoei Ruto? Before we proceed, kindly, if you could be watching this channel for the first time, take a second or two to subscribe, so that whenever we produce another video, YouTube will automatically notify you. Back to our discussion. And of course, I shouldn't forget those who have subscribed to this channel. Thank you for your continued support. And back to our discussion. What do Kenyans want next year from our leaders? One, now that the President of the Republic of Kenya has reached out, and according to him, that is the best way that he can do is development, or he can realize his development. He should use that method to ensure that those leaders who he has put in specific positions work hand in hand to solve one, unemployment. Unemployment is the biggest disease in Kenya, because this year alone, several young people graduated from various institutions, thus getting to labor market. These are the young people who will always keep on the government on the land, because they want to earn a living, and not just a living, a decent living, having completed their education. So employment is the duty and the obligation of the government to provide that environment for that employment. So he should use his broad-based government to come up with mechanisms in which they can realize increased employment opportunities for the young people. Even if it is in foreign countries, they should come up with foreign policies. They should negotiate with foreign countries on policies which do not actually rely on the government to export the labor. Policies which can allow even individual people to go freely without so many processes, bureaucracies. Second, the issue of health care. it had several issues. There was the move from NHIF to SHA. Whether there were brokers who brought issues such that this SHA was unattainable, this should come to an end. Next year, of course, Kenyans will wish we have a country whereby it is a corruption-free zone. Kenyans cannot attain basic services because of the corruption, because money has been used in different ways. Money meant for mega projects has gone to different pockets, and therefore it becomes extremely difficult for Kenyans to access those services. It's unfortunate that Kenyans cannot access clean water in most parts. Kenyans cannot access electricity in most parts. This should be a thing of the past. On education is simply going to remain a project of the rich people if it is not well checked. The government simply promises to give or to fund education, and of course no funds in most cases are sent to those institutions, and if they are sent, they are too late when funny things have been done and much has been gone out of control. The cost of living, despite the fact that there were some controlled kind of hunger, was actually up. There was people could not be able to access the basics because of the high cost of living. It was actually the imposition of taxes, more especially during the finance bill of 2024-2025, that got the attention of most people in the Republic of Kenya, and especially the young people who have no source of earning, and then taxes were being increased. This meant that even traveling from one place to another was extremely difficult, because once taxes increase, they affect each and every sector of the economy. When we talk of agriculture, today we can simply say that it is God who is calling us along. God has given us knowledge to come up with mechanisms in which we can manipulate the environment, but we are still reliant on rainwater. If the rains stop, for example, for just 3 months in most parts of the country, then Kenya will be in another crisis. So they have not come up with mechanisms to ensure that we have irrigation or we have sufficient water so that people can use this water even at their domestic sphere to irrigate, even at their domestic sphere to give their domestic animals. So the issue of water is still a problem in most parts of the country. Of course, they are trying to improve it in urban areas like in centers like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and the major cities, but it's not sufficient. And of course, these people depend for productions from outside Nairobi. That means in the case of a drought, they also feel the drought even if with that retro water. The environment, they are talking of environment, hosting big conferences in Kenya, but Kenya has still not gone further to implement what it talks of the government, the environment. There is much needed. Forests have been destroyed, and this has not been taken into consideration. And even in some cases, you will find that those in government positions are the ones involved in the destruction of the forests. Machuka Nyarieko TV talk show, the house of ideas.